Talufalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuiki. Coming up, landslide in PNG leaves 21 dead and many homeless. Also,
solar is the winner globally for the cheapest form of electricity generation.
the Pacific sets its sights on 100% renewable energy reliance. And
I reckon it's meant to be here because of the crowd here. The energy here is beautiful.
Tongan League fans turned out in full force at Auckland's Eden Park on Sunday. The governor of Inga province in Papua New Guinea says it's likely some survivors of a deadly landslide in Inga province are now homeless. The ABC reports police saying the landslide struck the small village of Kukas at 2 a.m. local time on Friday morning, flattening houses with people still asleep inside them. According to the police, the death toll remains at 21. I spoke to Inga Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector Kelly Sombe about the disaster.
The landslide occurred last week on Friday early as 2 a.m. in the morning. The whole bodies were recovered, 21 of them, 3 kids, 6 females and 16 adults, total of 21. 21 were recovered last week, Friday.
Do you expect the death toll number to increase?
No, that's the confirmed number we have so far. And all of them were transported down to Mount Hagen Funeral Home.
How are response efforts going so far?
The rescue stopped as they recovered the body. The rescue efforts stopped.
What are the urgent needs?
That I wouldn't know because the national disaster they take inside of this landslide.
What has the provincial government make of all of this? Have they been putting in any requests for more assistance?
Yes, the provincial government they also take in charge of this landslide by providing them shelter, tents, and the places for others to live in. Because many of them, they came for a funeral service and when the landslide occurred.
So the provincial government that's providing shelters, this is for those that have been displaced. This is for the survivors.
Absolutely, yes, exactly.
And how many survivors are there?
That I wouldn't know because as far as my report is concerned, there's so many of them, they came far to attend a funeral service. And when it's getting late in the night, they stayed at that location, and the landslide occurred in the night.
Where have these people come from? If they've come so far.
Most of them they come as far as the lower Lai. That's the border of Western Islands and Enga province. And
what about for the local villagers?
Yes. Because most of them, they share a house, they live together in a house, and the locals they stay far because when the landslide occurred, it affects those ones who came in to live with them.
So at the moment, where are they? Where have they been relocated to?
There's no relocations because those ones who came with those deaths, they return back to their village, and only the locals they remain back, and it's PNG custom. They have to set up tents and what we call a house cry for others to come and pay their respect.
The Pacific is gunning to be the first region in the world to be completely reliant on renewable energy. It comes with the United Nations Climate Conference just around the corner. Caleb Fotheringham has more.
Climate risk researcher Wesley Morgan says the proposal will be put forward by Pacific leaders at several events at COP30 this year in Berlin, Brazil.
The world is moving away from fossil fuels and towards renewable energy, but it's not happening fast enough. And so the Pacific can again lead by example by becoming the first region in the world to be powered 100% by renewable energy.
The Asian Development Bank estimates that Pacific small island states spend more than $1 billion annually on fossil fuels, which is nearly 80% of total energy costs. Mr. Morgan says it will be expensive initially and international help will be needed to foot the bill.
Recent estimates that looked at replacing fossil fuel for electricity generation in just 8 of the 14 Pacific Island countries suggested that that would cost around US $1 billion. But those costs are recouped. You don't have to pay your annual fossil fuel bill.
A strong call for renewable energy was championed by Pacific youth activists at COP28 in Dubai, where there was a landmark commitment to triple renewable energy production worldwide. Now, the 100% Renewable Pacific Initiative is being led by Palau's president, Surungal Whips Jr. Jacinta Fa'amal with environmental charity 350.org says it's ambitious but can be done.
It's totally possible, and Pacific leaders have been pursuing climate action for over a decade now, and there is a big need for a very swift and just transition to renewable energy.
Fiji, Nauru, Marshall Islands, Samoa, Tuvalu and Vanuatu have all pledged to achieve 100% renewable energy by 2030. Tonga and Solomon Islands have set a target of 70% renewable electricity by 2030 and complete renewable generation by 2050. Mr. Morgan says solar will likely be the most used form of electricity generation for the Pacific.
Solar is the winner globally for the cheapest form of electricity generation, and so will be the solution in many cases, and solar backed up by storage. But there are a whole range of innovative energy solutions that could work.
With COP30 starting next week, Jacinta Fa'amal says the region is keeping up with its demand for big polluters to phase out fossil fuels.
We want to remind our world leaders the importance of listening to frontline and Indigenous communities, especially at COP this year and in the lead up to COP31, if it's potentially going to be in Australia.
It's not yet decided where COP31 in 2026 will be hosted, but the Pacific is hopeful Australia can convince Turkey, the only other country in the running, to give up its bid to host. Reuters is reporting Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese wrote to his Turkish counterpart on Sunday to try and seek a resolution of the standoff which has been running since the two nations put in their bids to host back in 2022. The host for the climate meeting must be decided on by consensus, and some Australian media outlets are speculating about the possibility of a joint hosting arrangement.
In Aotearoa, at least one school is clashing with officials over how to handle the current measles outbreak, as 3 of the country's largest secondary schools confirm cases of the highly contagious disease. Wellington Girls College, which confirmed a second case last week, is flouting the advice of public health and education officials and sending all students home except for those doing exams, which begin on Tuesday. There are now 17 confirmed cases of measles nationwide. Checkpoint reporter Ruth Hill has more.
Even infectious disease experts' families are not immune from being caught up in the current measles outbreak. Professor Michael Baker has a daughter at Wellington Girls College, where up to 900 people are considered close contacts after a second student with measles was in class on Tuesday and took part in prize giving the next day.
Over the prize giving, my daughter was there. She actually did get a prize. Then the next thing they say, oh, all your kids have got to stay home for 3 days. They were required to stay home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, the whole school.
Wellington Girls College principal Julia Davidson says despite already having one confirmed measles case earlier in the week, the school went ahead with the prize giving after being cleared to do so by public health. She says this week they're opting for a more cautious approach, despite being told by the Ministry of Education they should keep the school open.
That is the advice that they have given us several times that we're fine to continue. I have to say we're ignoring their advice at the moment by keeping people at home for 3 days. We don't feel comfortable with that at the moment.
She says the school has staff members with babies too young to be vaccinated and immune-compromised relatives, and it also wants to protect senior students doing exams.
And that was part of the reason the board decided to keep the other kids at home. Exams start tomorrow, and we just want them to have a clean run.
A letter from the Director-General of Health, Audrey Sonesson, sent to health and education officials on Friday and seen by RNZ, says keeping students in the classroom remains a key priority while balancing the public health risk. She says where there has not been a case discovered at a school, students should continue to attend, regardless of their vaccination status. Where there is a measles case, students who have not received 2 doses of the MMR vaccine may be asked to stay home if they're a close contact. Michael Baker says it can seem confusing from the outside, but he's confident that public health officials will be making the best decisions on all the information available.
They have to balance all of these competing factors and give the best advice they can. It may not always look optimal from the point of view of people who are peripherally involved, but I think it's just important that they are left to get on with it.
Professor Baker says the public can be reassured that most measles cases so far seem to be linked, so the outbreak can be stamped out with good contact tracing. He says meanwhile, schools are also balancing different demands.
It's not an enviable task trying to manage a large school and you're trying to protect your students, your staff and their families.
The National Public Health Service Director, Dr Nick Chamberlain, says at this time of year, schools have many large-scale events happening, including assemblies, prize-giving and exams.
Restricting all of those large events could be overkill. You know, we are doing our absolute best and trying to balance between the health requirements and the needs of students to stay at school.
Health New Zealand today launched a nationwide measles immunisation week, and the government is urging all New Zealanders to check their immunisation status and make sure their families are protected.
A sea of red and white dominated the stands of Eden Park as Tonga took on the Kiwis, fighting for a spot in the 2025 Pacific Championships Rugby League final. While the Kiwis secured an early head start, leading 24-2 by half-time and going on to win the match, Tongan fans remained optimistic and cheerful. Tiana Hexton was in the crowd.
Painted on faces, worn as capes and flown high on poles, Tongan flags filled the stadium on Sunday afternoon. The energetic fans were full of pride for their island nation, cheering, chanting and dancing through the match.
Hey, we're coming back! Let's go Tonga!
The fans say it is important their Tongan community always turns out in force. They say it shows the players their whole country stands with them.
I reckon it's meant to be here because of the crowd here. The energy here is beautiful.
The community is always here supporting their team, win or lose. We're here to represent families, our whole nation, like the whole kingdom of Tonga. Win or lose, we're still proud to be Tongan, eh?
Looking around at the sea of red post-match, co-captain Jason Taumalolo says the fans are the reason they always look forward to playing in Auckland.
The support we have here in Auckland is second to none. There's no other Red Sea like here in Auckland, and it's always an honour to be here to represent everyone here. It's an honour to represent the guys that I play alongside with, not just for them, but for their families and for Tongans all over the world.
On the field, the Kiwis dominated Tonga, securing a comfortable win, 40-14 full-time. Kiwis captain James Fisher-Harris says they had to align their defence to match Tonga's power pack. Fisher-Harris says they had to fight for each other to get the win in the end.
It was a grind in the first 20 minutes. I think both teams sort of front-loaded with their forward packs, just going after it and got a few tries and stuff, so just kept the momentum going. But it was an even game, pretty much, well, you look at their forward pack, they got, actually their whole team, they got star power everywhere, so had to rely on our defence a bit and just work hard for each other. But it wasn't perfect, but the effort was there for us,
Off the field, Tonga Rugby League forward Eliesa Katoa was hospitalised on Sunday night after he felt sick on the sideline. Head coach Christian Wolf says Katoa had a head injury assessment after he was taken off for a head knock earlier in the game and got worse after a second heavier head contact. He also had a head knock in the warm-up but was cleared to play.
But he wasn't great on the sideline, and I'm told that he was responsive and was improving before he actually went to the hospital. The doctor's done the usual HIA. We've got two very experienced doctors there. They've done their usual HIA. He's passed all that and passed all that well, and unfortunately, I think he's copped a second hit that's quite heavy, and obviously there's been a bit of a poor result on the back of that.
Tonga Rugby League President Lord Whakawhanua says forward Eliesa Katoa is being monitored at Auckland Hospital, while the rest of the team was flying out on Monday. The stage is now set for the Pacific Cup final, with the ultimate showdown between New Zealand and Samoa at the CommBank Stadium in Sydney this Sunday. In the women's final, the Jillaroos will take on the Kiwi Ferns.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā, soifua.